kind of go in detail of how you promote your coaches.
Well, I tell them all the same thing. Like, you sit in a room with all these guys. Some of you want to be coordinators, some of you want to be head coaches, and I want that for you. The only way you get those opportunities is to do well in the position you're in and bring value, and try to make it a position where the next guy's got big shoes to fill, and that's really how you do it. And Coach Mangino, who was one of the guys I worked for at Kansas, used to say there's workers and there's networkers. And the guys that make it in this business are the workers. They're the ones that get the job done, not the ones that know the most people or make the most phone calls. And they're definitely out there. I mean, they're bragging about who they talk to instead of the job they're doing. And so I've always tried to set the standard of what I want. I try to find people that fit that when I hire them. And then I help them. Hey, how can I help you grow? What do you need? Is it going places to visit? Is it bringing people in? Is it just sitting with you more? Because I want my staff to reach their goals. Last thing you want somebody unhappy in his role. And we've had success that way. We've got a lot of former coaches in the NFL now. We've got head coaches. Eli Drinkwitz is doing a great job at Missouri. Tim Beck now at Coastal Carolina. Mike Urimovich at Butler. So 3 guys that are head coaches, that are doing well where they're at. That means a lot to me. I worked for some really good head coaches. Brett Bielema at Wisconsin was phenomenal in helping me grow. Joe Glenn I already mentioned. But you learn good and bad too, like there's some things you witness and you're like, all right, I'm not going to do that. And that's a good learning tool as well. It's not just taking the good. I think you have to take the failure as well as learning opportunity.
What are the parts of coaching your coaches?
Yeah. I think holding them accountable to what you expect. I mean, setting the standards first so they know, hey, these are the things that I really care about. I want to make sure these are taken care of. This is how we need to communicate with our players. This is what I don't want to hear from you. And then holding them accountable to whatever you say are your standards. I mean, if you have standards and you don't hold people to them, then the standards are lowered. And so all these coaches are different. I'm not going to have cookie cutter coaches. And I don't want that. But there's a certain way that we do business with these young men. And, one of our, I guess you'd say, slogans when we coach is coach them hard but love them harder. Make sure they understand how much you care, because if they do, then you can coach them as hard as you want. And so be demanding and not demeaning. And I think I do that with my coaches too. I'm never going to embarrass them in front of a player or staff member, but I'm going to hold them accountable. We're going to have hard conversations when they need to happen. My job, in my opinion, is not to tell them how to do their job. It's to help them do it better and point out things that I'm seeing that are taking away from that. And so just being observant. If you watch me at practice, I'm not saying a ton. I'm saying what needs to be said, when it needs to be said, but after practice, I'm talking a lot in our staff meeting about what I saw and what I wanted to see better in the next practice, and then making sure they follow through.
Well, I think your coaches, they're not jumping out of here. They're staying with you. And,
yeah.
And I've even seen some of your graduate assistants have been there, or maybe analysts now. I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 years. And I think very few schools can say that. So I think that's a big plus for you.